Hi, Kearns Community. We are back with another mayoral interview. This is Tina Snow. She's going to be running, and we're going to get into some questions here. Let's see. What leadership experience do you bring that prepares you to be an effective mayor?
Okay, first I want to thank you for bringing me out on my busy schedule. 37 years ago, we built our house out here in Kearns before the Oval, before the KLPFC was there, before this library, had our 3 kids, 3 daughters that went to Kearns High and graduated from there. And so along the way, we found out there was some problems in our community. So we started a neighborhood watch, Parkwood Neighborhood Watch. Mm-hmm. And that's how we started. We had every month at our house. And then we found out there was a council seat open 17 years ago, and my husband ran for that. And so I started volunteering on that, just the community events, helping where I could. And then we come to that we were going to become, where they needed another council. And so I ran for that. And when I got on that, it was a rough year, 9 years ago. And then all of a sudden we were running smoothly and COVID hit. And so we had to finagle COVID with businesses out here being struggling, people not being able to get supplies they needed, like the hand sanitizers, the wipes, the mask, so I helped fund like the food vouchers. We went for funding for the $50 food vouchers, the mask.
That was at Stan's Market.
Yes, yeah. Yes. It was a great partner for that. And during that time, we, it was a struggle. I look back at one of the times when I was volunteering on the Kearns Community, and it was the Kearns Memorial. They were doing a fundraiser. Mm-hmm. And me and my husband went out and was selling the pavers, and it wasn't that they come to us, we had to go to them. Mm-hmm. And so you would go to these homes and you'd meet, widows of veterans that, it wasn't a short thing. It wasn't like, let's go sell this paver and we're done. Yeah. You walked in, you heard their story, like we heard a widower, her husband was a widow, she was a widower, and her husband was on the South Pacific, fought in the South Pacific. Then we went to a 94-year-old guy, and I never put this out of my mind. He was 14 when he enlisted, and he was in Battle of the Bulge, which just amazed me. And so I learned to listen to those leaders that Kearns is founded on, that we, that's how we become a city, or, this area become known. And so, and I learned that you got to listen to your forefathers, that you got to listen to their stories and what the community needs. And so, when COVID did hit, we were sort of prepared. Like, we got to listen to the community. We got to meet their needs where they are.
That's great. How will you stay accessible and accountable to residents?
Well, right now we are pretty accessible. We do, a lot of our stuff does go on the social media pages, but we also do have our own website. It's kearns.utah.gov. Mm-hmm. And, for those that don't have Facebook, that don't have the social media access, and then we do send out flyers, mailers, to try and keep the people informed of what we're doing.
Yeah, the newsletter.
Yes.
What's your approach to working with the city council?
Well, since I'm on the city council, it would probably be the other way around. I think the two councils work well together. I think that, there was struggling times right in the first year because it was finding our boundaries, but we have done well. We found them funding, for instance, when 4 years ago, it was funding for when they need funding, we find the funding for them. Mm-hmm. To get out what the community needs.
Yeah, I remember that. Those vouchers were really helpful. How will you make city government more transparent and responsive to residents?
Once again, that goes back to that we try and put it all out there. We got to listen. We try and listen to see what their needs are, and then we, like our, we do have meetings here at this library every second Monday at 6 o'clock. that are open to the public. We do have Zoom, so you don't have to come down. You can get on Zoom and deal with that, or you can go to the website and listen to our minutes.
A lot of people actually might not know that you can listen to the Zoom.
Yes, you can. You can get on Zoom.
I know we have the audio posted.
Yes.
Also afterwards, so if you miss it, you can go back and listen to the audio. What is your top priority if elected, and how do you envision the city changing under your leadership?
Well, it's in the making right now already. We just got approved from Lieutenant Governor for an RDA out here, so we're going to revitalize the downtown area, try and get it revitalized to where more businesses will want to come into Kearns, or businesses that Kearns want to come in. Yeah. It's for the tax base out here. Another thing would be, let's see, there's so many, like we got the funding for the wall on 6200 South, the 3.1 million from the state, so the Kearns residents don't have to pay for that. That's been in the making for 6 years, and we finally are going to do it in October. We the bridge on 47th, we got a grant for that. So there's a lot of projects going on in Kearns. So Kearns is going to be a busy place.
There is a lot of projects out there. Summertime for construction.
Yay. I'm sure they don't like it, but when it's done, they'll love it.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. How do you plan to work with the police department to ensure both public safety and community trust?
Well, okay, on that, I was on a panel of 4 when we decided to have a new chief. Every 2 years, we are getting a new chief. So I'm like, I want to be on this panel. I want to help pick who our new chief is. And I think we did a really good pick with the Chief Levi Hughes, because he thought outside the box. He brought in new incentives to us, new ideas, like, for instance, putting sergeants in each district so they know the community, the members and community that they're working with, so they can be more on one contact with them. We 4 years ago we got found a grant for Night Out Against Crime to buy the Ring doorbell cameras to give out to the community. At one of the KCC events, we put up more lighting to help. Not all of them are new poles. Some of them are just new lights that spread further out that light up the area out here to make us more secure.
That's great. Sorry, scoot it up. How do you plan to engage and support local youth programs to reduce crime and provide alternatives to gang involvement?
Now, that's a hard one out here, because we have after-school programs, but we don't have other programs. Like there's the after-school programs. There's a Latino in Action program out here, which is a great one.
Yeah.
There's, we do need to work on that. We do need to do better for our youth.
Yeah, I agree. What's your plan to attract or grow local businesses?
Once again, that goes back to the RDA. We got to hold these property owners that are letting these buildings be run down and vacant, and that we've got to do something to revitalize it so the businesses will want to come and stay instead of come be, last a year and leave on us.
Yeah. Agree. I see that often. How will you prioritize spending in your first budget?
Well, we are very frugal with our budget, and I hope you guys all know that we do find grants. We do find grant matches. We have done all this without raising or starting a city tax. Even though we now become a city, we're trying to keep it the same to where all this stuff is happening with finding, trying hard to just maintain our budget. And we're doing a good job at it.
Okay. What programs or departments will see more funding or cuts?
I don't know if you can really say which would see more or less, because like I said, we don't have youth programs out here, which we'd like to see more of. I'm a local business owner. I do childcare, and during COVID, I really, struggled watching families struggle, that they were struggling. And so it created more, I would say, child abuse and domestic violence. So for instance, me and my husband opened it's called the Snow Closet. It's over at the precinct, And what it is it's a closet that we put diapers, wipes, socks, underwear, pajamas, books, coats, hygiene kits, so that when these when these victims come in, they have something that the advocate or the police department can give them because they're in a time of need.
That's really great. That's really awesome. If you guys didn't know, that's available.
Yeah, but that is through the police department and their advocate.
Mm-hmm. That's really awesome. I didn't know that.
And that is privately funded. That's just my husband and I's. That's why it's called Snow's Closet.
That's awesome. How will you ensure transparency and accountability in how city funds are used?
Well, if people will come to the meetings, it is out there. Like we discuss it in our meetings, what we're going to spend, what the budget is for the projects we're doing. A lot of it is just coming to the meetings and understanding that it is out there. Like join on Zoom, this and that. We have to, when we're trying to approve this, it is an open public discussion.
Yeah. Okay, we're already at the end. This is your last question. Something I learned from the council meeting on June 9th is that the city manager position is not required. Is that something you will want though?
I would say yes, because I've watched our mayor that we have right now do three jobs. She's the admin, she's the mayor, she is the one out there finding grants for us. So yes, I think we need that. And to revitalize, especially as busy as we're going to be, we're going to need a city manager. Yeah. We're going to need someone that wants what's best for Kearns to help us be like, to get new businesses out here and all this, to work with the contractors, to work with the, people, MSD, to navigate the two things.
Mm-hmm. So Kelly that's your pick for that.
No, we're going to, well, I would love that, but no, we have to do interviews. Okay. But I think, would she be a good choice? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk? You want to add anything?
I would just like to say the mayor position is not a title. It is a commitment to this community. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of involvement. It is a lot of, having people come to you at time of need. We have a lot of elderly out here. We have, a lot of lower income that are struggling. And we're trying to find ways to help them all out. And to, I will listen. It's your community, your voice.
Thank you so much for meeting with us, and thanks for watching, everyone. Follow us on the Kearns Community 411.
Thank you.
Everybody like and share, too.